Hey, good people, what's going on? B. Chambers from Alloy7.com with yet another word of encouragement. Today's title is To Truly Live, You Must Die. And this concept of dying to live seems an interesting paradox. How does one obtain life by dying? The answers can be found in the two passages I'd like to cover today. The first, Genesis chapter 2, verse 17, which states, "But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat." God, in this case, speaking to Adam. "For in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die." And the second is 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 24. "And in it he," Jesus in this case, "himself bore our sins in his body on the tree, that we might die to sin and live to righteousness." In the first passage, God tells Adam that he'll die if he chooses to disobey him. In this case, eating of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. In the second passage, the author is referencing dying to sin so that we can live in righteousness. The interesting part about the first passage is that Adam did choose to disobey God. However, given the fact that he lived for many years after that day, it becomes clear that God meant something else when he said the words, "In the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die." The second passage is interesting for the same reason. Why would the author say we need to die in order to live? And the answer actually lies in how you define death. When most of us hear the word death or to die, we think of our physical end. And that's not wrong in any sense, but there's more to it. When you look at the Hebrew and Greek words death and die are translated from, you can see a recurring theme. While both do deal with our physical end, they both center around the theme of separation. And when Adam chose to disobey, he didn't meet his physical end that same day. However, he did separate himself from God, from his creator. So to quote Obi-Wan Kenobi, corny, I know, what God said was true from a certain point of view. Adam chose to separate himself from God by putting his trust in himself, his wife, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil above the trust he was placing in God and what God had told him prior to that action. That takes care of the bad news. So the good news is that 1 Peter outlines how we fix the human condition of separation that Adam and Eve caused. Much like Adam chose to separate himself from God, or more importantly, his very source of his life force, spiritually speaking, we can choose to reunite ourselves to God by making a similar but opposite choice. In simple terms, we need to die. Or better, we need to separate ourselves from the things that are killing us. We have to die to selfishness, greed, addiction, lust, and any of the other things that set themselves up against the goodness of who God is. In more simple terms, we need to die to fear. All of the wickedness, or at least most of it, the wickedness that goes on in the world, can easily be tied back to fear. So look at Adam. He chose to disobey God simply because he feared that God was trying to keep knowledge away from him, that somehow eating of this tree was going to give him something that he didn't have that God couldn't provide. And people in the world submit to greed and selfishness because they fear God won't meet their needs. You get the point. So if you want to live, start dying. Die daily to the fear that's held you captive, and you'll begin to taste the abundant life that Jesus died for you to live. Once again, good people, I hope you found this word encouraging. The "to truly live, you must die" piece. The whole written version can be found on Alloy7.com, and I'll post a link down in the video description for you to get to that. Other than that, I hope you all are doing well wherever this is reaching you. Have a great day. Peace and Godspeed.